There's a knock at your door. You open it and find your entire village waiting outside. Some carry ropes, others carry torches. No one has come to save you. They've come to accuse you. By tomorrow, you could be dragged into a courtroom. Within days, you could confess to crimes you never committed. Within weeks, you could be executed. Not because anyone had seen you cast a spell, not because there was any real evidence, but because a neighbor's cow had died, a child had fallen mysteriously ill, or the harvest had failed. In the German lands of the Holy Roman Empire, one accusation was often all it took to destroy a life. Neighbors turned against neighbors, friends testified against friends, even family members sometimes abandoned the people they loved, terrified they would be accused next. This wasn't one isolated tragedy. Across Europe, tens of thousands of people were accused of witchcraft. But nowhere did the fear burn more fiercely than in Germany, where entire communities became trapped in a nightmare of suspicion, torture, and execution. How did ordinary people become so terrified that killing innocent men and women felt like justice? This is the true story of the witch hunts, long before anyone was called a witch. Fear ruled everyday life. A healthy child could suddenly fall ill. A family's crops could wither without warning. A single storm could destroy an entire year's harvest. No one understood why these disasters happened. Every tragedy demanded an explanation. Across Europe, many believed the answer wasn't disease, bad weather, or simple misfortune. They believed the devil was at work. From childhood, people were taught that Satan walked among them, searching for ordinary men and women willing to serve him. To them, witches weren't characters from stories. They were believed to be real, living in the next village, or even next door. Nowhere would these fears become more deadly than in the German lands of the Holy Roman Empire. During the late 1500s and early 1600s, priests warned of hidden servants of the devil. Judges searched for signs of witchcraft. Local authorities promised to rid their communities of evil. Fear spread faster than facts ever could. A single whisper at church, a rumor in the marketplace, or an accusation from a frightened neighbor could travel through an entire village before the church bells stopped ringing. Once your name was spoken, your life might never be the same. The devil had become invisible, and that meant anyone could be a witch. Soon, Germany would witness one of the darkest chapters in its history. By 1628, the witch hunts had spread across much of Europe, but nowhere did they burn more fiercely than in the German city of Bamberg, where fear had become more powerful than reason. Accusations spread through the streets with terrifying speed, and almost anyone could become the next victim. At first, most people believed the accused were the poor, the lonely, or those already viewed with suspicion. They thought respectable citizens had nothing to fear. They were wrong. Then came the knock at the door, the one every family dreaded. But this time, the witch hunters hadn't come for an ordinary villager. They had come for one of the most respected men in the city. His name was Johannes Junius, the mayor of Bamberg. He wasn't poor. He wasn't an outsider. He was a trusted public official who had spent years serving his community. If someone like Johannes Junius could be accused of witchcraft, then no one was safe. Soldiers arrested him and led him away in chains as neighbors watched silently from their windows. No one dared speak. No one dared help. To defend an accused witch was to risk becoming one yourself. Johannes believed the truth would set him free. After all, he had done nothing wrong. But the prison gates closed behind him, and they marked the beginning of a nightmare from which thousands of innocent people would never escape. The prison Johannes entered was unlike anything he had ever known. For days, the guards demanded the same answer: confess. Again and again, Johannes gave them the same reply: I am innocent. He had never practiced witchcraft. He had never made a pact with the devil. He had never harmed anyone. He believed the truth would set him free. But the interrogators had already decided he was guilty. They believed that if he truly served the devil, pain would force him to reveal the truth. So the torture began. Johannes was stretched on the rack, his body pulled until the pain became unbearable. When he still refused to confess, the torture continued. Hour after hour. Day after day. His determination slowly gave way to agony. At last, the pain became stronger than the truth. Johannes confessed, not because he was guilty, but because he believed the suffering would never end unless he did. Like countless innocent people before him, he admitted to impossible crimes, claiming he had met the devil and taken part in acts he knew had never happened. But the confession didn't save him. It only convinced the judges they had been right all along. Then came an even more terrifying demand. The judges believed no witch worked alone. They wanted names. They wanted Johannes to accuse other innocent people of serving the devil. Every name he gave could mean another arrest, another trial, another execution, and with every new accusation, there came another knock on another innocent family's door. Days passed, but Johannes never stopped searching for a way to tell the truth. Hidden inside his prison cell, he secretly wrote a letter to his beloved daughter. If the guards discovered it, he could face even harsher punishment. But Johannes was willing to risk everything for one final chance to tell the truth. Somehow, the letter was smuggled out of the prison. In it, Johannes finally revealed what had really happened behind those walls. He wrote, "I am innocent." He begged his daughter never to believe the confession recorded by the court, explaining that every word had been forced from him through unbearable torture. Then came the most heartbreaking part of his letter. Johannes wrote, "If all the people who are arrested must endure the same torture, then everyone will become a witch." In a single sentence, he exposed the horrifying truth behind the witch hunts. Confessions were not proof of guilt. They were proof of suffering. His daughter would eventually read those words, knowing there was nothing she could do to save her father. Soon afterward, the prison doors opened one final time. Guards chained Johannes's hands and led him from his cell. He already knew where they were taking him. His confession had never been meant to save his life. It had only secured his conviction. In 1628, Johannes Junius was executed as a convicted witch. He died proclaiming his innocence. His execution ended his life. But his letter kept his truth alive. More than 400 years later, those words still survive, reminding the world that one of history's darkest chapters did not begin with magic. It began with a single accusation. Johannes Junius was not the last innocent person to die. Across the German lands, thousands of men and women shared the same fate. The panic spread beyond Germany into Switzerland, Scotland, France, England, and eventually the American colonies. But fear could not rule forever. As the years passed, more people began to question the trials. Judges and scholars slowly realized that torture did not uncover the truth. It forced innocent people to confess to crimes they had never committed. Courts became more skeptical. Stronger evidence was demanded. Little by little, the execution stopped, and one of Europe's darkest chapters finally came to an end. Today, Johannes Junius's confession means nothing. It was never the truth. It was the product of unbearable suffering. But the letter he secretly wrote from his prison cell still survives. The words the judges tried to silence outlived the people who condemned him. More than 400 years later, his story remains a warning to the world. The greatest danger was never witchcraft, it was fear. Fear that turned neighbors against neighbors. Fear that made rumors sound like evidence. Fear that convinced ordinary people they were doing the right thing while destroying innocent lives. It all began with a single accusation. And before it was over, tens of thousands of innocent people across Europe had paid the ultimate price.